The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
It's time for a crunch or two. It's time for a little something something. It's time for the Snack Authority. The Snack Authority. The authority on snacks. Snacks of all kinds. From the most common and wildly famous to the most obscure and unknown. The Snack Authority. Snacking all the time so you don't have to.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Snack Authority, broadcasting live from the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. The Snack Authority is a weekly podcast where we dig into the history, taste, and flavor of local snacks, international favorites, and bizarre international treats. Hi. Alone or in head-to-head battles. I am Jess, and with me is my panel of experts. We have Dave.
Hello.
Mikey.
What up?
And our Ed.
Hello.
And we also have a ton of chips. Like a lot of chips. So I'm pretty excited. So I guess we are trying to figure out for your Super Bowl, because we care, what's the best dipping chip?
Right. So you're going to use regular chips and they're going to fall apart inside your dip bowl, or do they just go perfectly because that's what they're made for? That's what a chip was all about, right? That's why it's actually shaped that way. We'll find out from Ed later on. Or is it that the Ruffle...
The Ruffle wins because
It's reinforced.
But
it's like corrugated.
There's so many different kinds of chips. I mean, I find it overwhelming when I'm looking in the chip aisle because there's Ruffles, there's tortilla chips, there's the flat chips, there's baked
Fritos,
chips.
Puffs.
Yeah, we're talking potato chips today, but we're also talking all Lays because in a previous episode, if you go back, and hopefully that's what you're doing is binge listening to our show,
I would hope so.
We tested the potato chips, and Lays took it. So Lays is the biggest selling potato chip, and Ed will go to that later too. But let's just try to find out what kind of chip, not the brand, but the kind today.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a little bit confused between the Wavy Lays and the Ruffles.
I don't think I've ever had a Wavy.
Really?
Whoa. I've had regular, I had Ruffles. Is it something new? Is it dramatically new, or just a couple of years old, or has it been a long
1991.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Where have I been?
You're a little behind.
Yeah.
And maybe I have at other people's houses because they're
But
in
you
the
thought it
bowl.
was a Ruffle?
And I thought it was a Ruffle, and I'll figure that out as it goes on. I don't know.
It's pretty
I've never
exciting.
bought a Wavy, I would say.
Ed, please tell me you've got the ad where the Ruffles have ridges.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yowza.
All right, so what do? Where should we begin?
I think I'm just going to put all three of them in a plate because I want to be able to look at them and compare. Because really, I mean, the picture on the front, you can actually see a slight difference, but you know that the pictures aren't always exactly what it looks like.
Right, we'll see. We'll be the judge of that.
I'm actually also going to look for airspace. I know they put airspace in there to protect your chips while they're being shipped and stuff, but I mean, don't they add something to it, like helium or something? Nitrogen?
Probably nitrogen.
Nitrogen?
I would think.
This place is oxygen, so they'd stay fresh longer.
We do have, and I put down here some...
Weights and prices.
Yeah, so the bags have 7.75 ounces on Wavy, and then regular Lays is 8 ounces. But the Ruffles has the most, 13.5 ounces, but also
That's
is the most
party size.
expensive.
Yeah.
So I actually broke it down at that point to
wait.
say how much per ounce are we paying, and a potato chip is 43 cents an ounce.
Yeah, so
Seems like a lot.
Yeah.
43 cents an
light.
ounce, and this is
Well-
on the bigger bags too.
It's probably a lot of potato chips, though.
So our
So
supporting
Wavy is 45 cents an ounce, 2 cents more per ounce for the Wavy. But when it comes to the Ruffle, that is odd because it's only 39 cents for the Ruffle.
Right.
It's the best bang for your buck. And I did not go by what you paid for the bag. I went by what it says printed on the bag, right? The original. I don't need any...
This is, I left it blank.
Okay, no dip for me. So we're seeing which one works best in the dip. And I am not having any dip because I don't like dip at all. I actually despise eating dip.
Anti-dip.
I'm anti-dip.
I'll dip anything. Like, if I can dip food, I typically enjoy it more. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a DIY kind of
Yeah.
fixation. So We actually have a supporting actor with us today, the French onion dip. But it's also a Lay's product. It's just one of the more common dips, just to give us something to judge it by.
All right, well, I'll talk some chips while you're
dishing it out.
Serving.
Talk chippy to me.
So we've talked about Frito-Lay before. As you may remember, it started as two separate companies in the early 1930s. They merged in 1961 to form Frito-Lay. Became a subsidiary of PepsiCo in 1965. And in an interview with Forbes in 1968, the PepsiCo CEO, Donald Kendall, summarized this by noting that potato chips make you thirsty.
Yeah.
Pepsi satisfies that thirst.
Look at that.
Good play.
However, plans to jointly promote the soft drink and snack products were thwarted later that year when the FTC ruled against it. They said they could not advertise them together.
Why?
That's a little weird.
It's not like it's monopolizing anything. They're both their products.
Lay's is the largest manufacturer in the U.S., and they became the first potato chip brand to be sold nationwide in 1965. You know, as we noted, there's still a lot of regional potato chip companies scattered around our great nation. So as far as the Lays go, Henry Lay opened a snack food operation in 1932 in Nashville. In 1938, he purchased from potato chip manufacturer Barrett Food Company. So he didn't start with the chips, but moved into chips in 1938.
You know who's moving into chips?
We are.
Right now.
Moving on in. The Ruffles appeared with Frito-Lay in 1961. However, they predated that. In 1955, an inventor named Bernhard Stammer filed a U.S. patent for sliced corrugated potato chips. You notice it looks like the corrugated cardboard, right? According to the patent, Stammer spent a considerable amount of time, effort, and money in developing a new corrugated potato product, which is sold under the trademark Ruffles. So the Ruffles predated Frito-Lay. They acquired them subsequently. And it's sort of like pleated paper or ruffled lace. The corrugated ridges made them sturdier, crunchier, and better suited for dipping. Able to withstand more weight, they were less likely to break in the bag or in the middle of a dip. I'm going to test that right now.
So were they made for dip or were they made for less breakage?
You know, they don't say specifically which. I think it's a happy coincidence that you get both. But and he named the company Ruffles after, you know, fashion, the ruffle, a gathering of fabric into folds.
Yeah.
And it does have that look, although when you think about it, the wavy looks more like fabric because this is a lot finer ridge on the ruffle.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like corduroy, and then you got the wide wale corduroys, if you remember those.
Jess, is it the same ingredients? Is it the same thing except for shape?
Honestly, I was trying to figure out the difference between the wavy and the Ruffles. All of them, besides the size difference, because I don't think it's fair to talk about the regular Lays. I mean, it's all 160 calories per serving. They kept that pretty even. The sodium is only 10 milligrams difference between the wavy and the Ruffles. And the sodium goes up to 170 for the regular. So it's 170 milligrams per serving for the regular Lay's potato chips. 150 milligrams of sodium on the Ruffles and 140 on the wavy Lays.
More surface area on a thin potato chip, right? Because
I wouldn't think so. I think they'd be more on a Ruffly one.
no, because you got thick inside, right?
It may have to do with how it's actually processed. Maybe the salt sticks better to the flatter one.
I think these are delicious. I mean, there's very...
The ingredients are potatoes and salt.
It's potatoes, vegetable oil, well, a combination of different oils, and salt. They have the same exact ingredients in the same exact order.
Okay.
Jess, did you say the wavy has more sodium because it tastes it?
The wavy has more has less sodium
Really?
than the Ruffles.
Because it's thicker. So say they put the same amount of salt on, it's going to be less chip per ounce.
I don't know. There's definitely a fluffy texture
So this
to
is
the wavy, which have the big waves.
This is almost do you like a French fry, a shoestring French fry,
Crinkle cut
French fry,
or wedge.
yeah, you know, because it's the same product.
It really bases it based. As far as dipability, I already know which one I'm going to vote for, but I mean, it depends whether you like more of a delicate crisp or you like more of a hearty crunch. As far as these are going, you know.
Yeah.
You get a more hearty crunch out of the Ruffle. You get more of a delicate crisp out of the Lay, and the Wavy's kind of in between. It's a little airy, but it's not quite as crunchy as the Ruffle. But
This one's almost pillowy.
Yeah.
The Wavy is almost pillowy.
Well,
It's like in between.
by popular request, we're going to move to the first commercial.
Oh, yay.
Lay's potato chips are so thin, so crisp, so light, no one can eat just one. You're kidding. I can. Just one. So, all you need is one. More in there, but just could hold one. Just had the one.
Dave, are you old enough to know who that was?
No.
I think Carol Burnett show. Tim Conway?
Oh wow, okay.
But that's not the one Mikey was looking for. I think he was looking for Ruffles.
Say it. Just say those three little words. The Ruffles have ridges.
Yeah.
Ridges, yes they really do. Ruffles have ridges, they rock and roll you. Ruffles have ridges, it's plain to see.
Ruffles have ridges.
What else could it be?
Ridges make Ruffles potato chips perfect for all your good times.
Ruffles have well, you get the drift.
They spent some money on that one.
They sure did. That was a famous character in there.
That's weird. I'm gonna level with you. That's weird.
I love them all.
I know, it's kind of a problem.
Don't you find, though, that the Ruffles versus the Lays, I get sort of a different aftertaste with the Ruffle? It's not exactly the same taste I'm getting.
Might be
It's the regular chip. It's the
Yeah.
classic Lay's potato chip.
Probably because it retains more oil or something, possibly.
And I would guess that regular potato chips outsell the Lay's,
Yeah, I don't
the Ruffles.
have stats on it, although I do think the regular Lays are the best-selling potato chip in the country.
Right.
Right.
They're good.
Yeah, I mean, we've had them before, and we liked them.
So Wavy's been around all these years?
Yeah.
Since not early 90s, you said?
1991, so...
And it you would think that possibly the Wavy ends up being the new improved Ruffle. Because it's thicker and it's going to hold more, and that Ruffles would go away. But maybe not the case, because I never even had a Wavy before.
Yeah. I mean, I find the Ruffle, the Wavy to be the in-betweener. It's kind of right in between them. You know, it's not as crisp as the Lays, it's not as hearty as the Ruffle.
You think the Ruffle is more hearty? The
It's got
Wavy
more
is
crunch.
thicker.
You know, but it seems to be more airy in the center, like Jesse was saying. But I find this one to be a lot more crunchy. It seems a lot more hearty to me.
I think the Ruffles are the thickest because I'm looking at them side by side. The Wavy is more pillowy, like it's almost a soft crunch. The Ruffles have almost the same crunch as the Goldfish Epics. Like it gives you something really substantial to bite into.
On a regular Ruffle?
The regular Ruffle seems more substantially crunchy than the Wavy Lay. I think the Wavy Lay has a little bit more air or something in it, or it's just fluffier.
I think it's just got to do with the density of the folds.
Because if you look at it, it does look like the Wavy is almost puffed.
I mean, the Romans made arches on stuff for a reason.
For dip.
So they're not giving you more. They're just puffing it out.
I think so.
It just seems like it, because if you look at it, it just looks so
They're not thick cut
almost
Ruffles.
see.
No.
They look like when you hold it up. I've never actually done this with a chip. Usually they just directly into my mouth. They have like the same basic patterns. The oil has come through.
Yeah.
It's the same basic thickness, but for whatever reason, the Wavy Lays seems fluffier. Maybe it's the concentration of ridges. I don't know, man.
Tough one.
I think
They're all good.
for better or worse, depending on your point of view, the Wavy definitely scoops bigger quantity of dip. Just
Yeah,
because it goes into those big recessed areas.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ruffles, the little recessed areas.
Yeah, but I think it's really going to be
ZD with
based
the
on what
lines.
type of
Right.
dip you're using, too, though.
Yeah.
For some dips, it's going to snap a Wavy where it wouldn't probably snap the Ruffle.
Yeah, you would have thought the Wavy would be sturdier, but it is the Ruffle, I think, that's the sturdiest chip.
The Wavy, the deeper grooves just allow
In the dip.
holding more dip.
What do you put buffalo chicken dip on? Like if you were gonna have, that's like a chip thing, right?
Tortillas.
So you would need. Oh, it's tortillas.
You
If you're
can
gonna
order
use a
from Bada
chip
Bing.
for very strong dips, like hearty ones, like spinach dip, spinach and artichoke dip, something like that, you need something like a Ruffle.
Yeah. Or
I
kettle
mean,
cooked.
I mean, I
The
like
regular
a Ruffle.
chip ain't gonna work.
Oh, no, it'll
It
snap.
really isn't. I mean, unless you like the little.
When I was a kid, there
extra
was-
bits.
Yeah. I mean, you
It was
can use
always
them.
Ruffles. My
Yeah.
life.
1965, so...
Right. So
Yeah. I mean, you
know.
can use a regular chip on dip, but you don't really dip. You have more like rub it to pick it up.
Oh yeah.
how much dip do you need?
It's hard to
I
say.
don't want any.
Hard to say when your family transitioned to the Ruffles, but I certainly remember using the regular chips and there'd just be pieces of
Yeah.
them left in the dip.
Yeah. But I mean, you have a variety of dips. If you're going to be doing something like, say you were going to be really gross, because I frequently am. If you're going to melt down like chocolate or something and then just get that salty sweet with a little bit of chip in it, I feel like I wouldn't want the Wavy or the Ruffles. I'd want chocolate, melted chocolate on a regular Lay's, because chocolate-covered potato chips are delicious, but the ratio has to be there. For a smooth, easy dip, regular Lay's.
I love me some chocolate-covered Ruffles.
I know you do.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's a texture thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Lay's makes an incredible product. Their products taste fresh. They have good crunch. They feel exactly like they're supposed to as a potato chip. But you have to judge it on what you like to dip.
Maybe we should talk some news while we think.
While you're talking news, refill my bowl.
Hit me.
Please.
Gotcha.
So this week we're going to focus on some Necco news. You know, we
Now defunct.
Necco wafers.
now defunct. Yeah, but the
living.
first big news that came out just this week is that, the Sky Bar,
Yeah.
the iconic 4-section candy bar. We thought it was gone forever when Necco went under last year, but it's coming back.
Oh, thank God. Excuse my language.
I thought you were going to another story on this.
Well, we got two Necco stories.
All right.
We're
I know the other
focusing.
one.
Me too.
Louise Mahiney, owner of Duck Soup, a gourmet food store in Sudbury, Mass.,
Yeah.
said Thursday she had won an online auction for the rights to the Sky Bar.
Wow.
Interesting.
Like so many others, I was watching the evolving events at Necco with dismay, she said in a statement. I couldn't believe that the Sky Bar would never be produced again.
Is she just a person, or she owns a candy?
She owns a Duck Soup, a gourmet candy store.
All right.
And I couldn't believe it would never be produced. I placed a bid, and I must admit I was stunned to suddenly become the owner of the brand. So she probably didn't bid much, they don't say.
They don't say.
Yeah, so she's working with Jeff Green, who was at Necco for 33 years and former vice president of research and development, to start small batch production of the Sky Bar later this year.
Nice.
Now, did she get the machinery or just the rights to the candy bar name?
I think just the rights to the candy bar, but it didn't say for sure.
That could be a pretty
may-
complex machine to be able to inject 4 different fillings
You know, it may improve.
Yeah, I mean,
May
they may
improve.
use,
Small batch.
better quality
Yeah.
chocolate, for example. So, We're going to have to get our hands on those.
Yes. We're going to have to give her props for saving our favorite candy bar.
I know.
That's in Sudbury, not too far from me, so we'll get our hands on those.
That's amazing.
Have you been to the store?
I thought they were gone forever. Like,
well, that's
mourned
what
them.
Louise thought, but
Thank you, Louise.
she's making stuff happen. Now, this is a sadder story on Necco. This is the one that you know. America's favorite Valentine's Day candy won't be available this year. Sweethearts, the conversation heart candy, is missing from the shelves this season. Yeah, it's sad. And, you know, CandyStore.com reported conversation hearts were the most popular candy last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe it.
But that didn't...
Did somebody buy it?
Yeah. Yeah, so Round Hill Investments bought Necco, but sold its Necco wafer brand and Sweethearts to Spangler Candy Company several months later. Spangler is best known for making Dum Dum lollipops.
That's where I remember it.
So Spangler owns this now.
And they couldn't get it done in time for...
Couldn't get it done in time, but they're planning to relaunch Sweethearts in time for next year's Valentine's season.
Okay.
Necco wafers will be reintroduced sometime later this year.
Didn't you say before in one of our earlier shows that they have weird new things written on the conversation hearts?
That was the competitor to the...
Yeah,
although
there's a knockoff, yeah.
I think Sweethearts had started to put some modern things on as well.
Call me old-fashioned, but some of those were fresh.
You don't necessarily want LOL.
No, you shouldn't. No.
No, not on a Sweetheart.
No way.
No, that's for texting.
What do they do with the broken ones?
Eat them.
Broken hearts.
You toss one into the bottom and wait for that person to go, she loves me,
No,
she
put them
loves
in a
me
box and you have a second item. And the people that bought that can have that, right?
You're a genius.
Take the broken ones and you got broken hearts and sweethearts.
You're literally giving them this
It's
for
free.
You are welcome.
And we could sell them for cheaper for all the lonely hearts on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day that have no one.
There's no. See,
Oh
that was
my
the problem.
gosh.
That's the problem with a lot of these candy companies. They've been doing it since the 1900s. Never changed it up, never added something, never took a little swing on something. You know, limited release, broken hearts. You know, it comes out only once a year, and they get all the broken ones. And even if they don't have broken ones, they break them. And they make broken hearts, lonely hearts. There could be so much they could do with that. You can just call me at the Snack Authority if you want to contact me for more
Spangler,
information.
yeah, Spangler can
Just give him
reach
a
you
call.
at the Snack
Yeah.
Authority.
Where's Spangler located, anyways?
I'm not sure.
Isn't that like the Midwest?
I'm thinking road trip.
Road trip.
Are we going there?
I think we should.
I'd actually like to see how Dum Dum's made, because they actually make a lot of different flavors.
Well, and they make the mystery flavors too, right?
No, it's just a wrapper. Everything else, it's one of the regular flavors. They just slap that wrapper on it.
I don't know,
Really?
man.
Yeah.
There's some kind of funny business.
Funny business, huh?
I love potato chips.
I would say they're one of my favorite snacks, just to snack on. I usually buy the Lay's because I don't really dip very
Are
often.
you into flavored potato chips or just regular potato chips?
Don't judge me. Don't judge me. When I'm being real dirty, I get these sour cream and cheddar chips. And I'll
you're a
point at
Ruffle.
Tony and I'll say, you don't judge me right now. You don't judge me. Because they're perfect. They're just as dirty as you want them to be.
I like regular potato chips.
Unfortunately, my favorite potato chip you can't get anymore.
What was it?
Granite State.
Oh, gee whiz.
I love going in there, getting that giant pail of freaking
Yeah,
chips. They're
it wasn't
delicious.
too salty.
I don't think I've ever had them.
Salt content is very high on these.
Oh yeah.
I'd like it down a couple of notches.
Right now,
Do you want me to lick the salt off for you?
my favorite, probably my favorite regular production chip is made by Cape Cod, and they're called the Dark Russet. They're like all the little burnt chips.
That sounds delicious.
Love them.
And we learned why the salt content is so high. It's owned by PepsiCo.
Yep, They want to make you thirsty,
Yeah.
just like nuts on the bar.
All right, I guess we better get to declaring a winner.
All right, so what's
So-
the rule here? What are we looking for?
The rule is the best dipping chip, I would say. Which one's going to stand up to the abuse?
But Dave's a non-dipper, so he just gets to pick his best chip.
I had 2 bowls because I had to make that determination
You're a good man.
without a chip. Then you got to do for the show.
Yeah.
All right, who's up? Who's going first?
I'll go first because I don't have a problem with it. I think if you're going to be like me and have like 5 different types of dip as an option to dip into, you almost need the Ruffles because they're the toughest chip. They have the crispiest crisp, so it's not going to get soggy when you take it to your mouth if you're chatting with, I don't know, Uncle Bob. Ruffles has to be the winner, though all of them are delicious.
Are we going to be doing any ratings? And if we're going to be doing a rating, is it going to be based on a rating on dipability or?
Just pick your favorite.
Just pick your favorite.
All right. As far as dipability, I'm going to have to agree with Jess. The Ruffle is the most sturdy one in my opinion. It's got the heaviest crunch and it seems heartier. I think it would stand up to a nice hefty salsa, maybe a queso, something with a little bit more weight. I'd have to say Ruffle.
And do you like it the best, too?
They're all pretty much the same chip,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as my favorite chip, I mean, I'd give them all probably the same rating, but just based on crispiness, I like the Lays because they're just that delicate crisp. But dipping it, you get a wipe. You don't dip with those.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, Ed, you want to do it?
He's doing research right now.
All right. So I'm going to go up. I'll go up. I agree. I thought for sure the Wavy was going to be the thickest and strongest one, but it's not. The Ruffle is. Going through the price also, it is the best priced product. And tasting all 3 at the same time, it is the best chip. And I didn't think I'd go. I thought for sure I would go to the regular one. But the Ruffle is the best all the way around. Price, value, crunchability, dippingability, everything. It's got everything going on. Ruffles has ridges, and it's the best.
And I thought I would go with the Ruffle at the start of this.
Oh.
And I'm going with the Ruffle. There's so many choices in the chip aisle now, and I'll often get something, just to try it.
Yeah.
But my go-to is and always has been the Ruffle.
Oh, I didn't know that going in.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've all agreed.
100% across.
Oh, my God. Well, before it devolves into trouble, we better just...
Oh, I got you. So if you guys have an idea for a snack we should dig into, please let us know at thesnackauthority@gmail.com. Thesnackauthority@gmail.com. Please just tell us. Please let your snack eating friends know about us. Share it, subscribe to it, give it a 5-star rating. For myself, Jess, Dave, Mikey, and Ed, and all of our delicious chips here, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Go Pats!
Go Pats!
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.